To have success in selling, ultimately you've got to be taking orders for your products or services. A lot of sales training programs will talk about closing techniques. You hear about titles of courses like Closing for Results or 5 Ways to Close a Deal or How to Be a Killer Closer. And they quite often detail hard selling techniques to get the customer to commit to a purchase. Whereas we believe that if you've built a relationship and understand the business requirement and have a solution you can offer, then taking an order is merely the next step. It's simply about concluding the business. They say in selling, asking for the order is one of the hardest things a salesperson has to do. The reason people say this is because of the potential fear of rejection should the customer say no. So if you experience this psychological barrier, let me give you a quick tip that might help. We've said a key part of selling is to build relationships. And if you build a good relationship, you can actually create a friend. So what you're actually doing is getting paid to create friendships. Now, if you look at selling in this way, it will eliminate the fear of a no. In the same way that you don't worry about asking a friend if they would like to join you for a drink, for example. This mindset will actually help build some of the characteristics that we mentioned right back in the very first episode on situational fluency. And then it will improve your confidence, your credibility, and ultimately the rapport you create with your clientele. So, assuming we can manage this fear, what we're going to give you now are 3 steps to help you conclude the business in a professional and friendly way, to ensure that the customer isn't just a one-off sale, but a roadmap of opportunities, as we've previously discussed. So the 3 steps are: 1, complete the transaction; 2, congratulate and recognize; and 3, ask for referrals. The first of these is simply a list of what Mike would call magic words. They are just the questions you can ask to complete the transaction. In fact, let's call them magic questions. Now, the first is the direct question.
So can we agree to go ahead then based on what we've discussed?
It's simply a direct question that warrants a simple yes or no answer. The next is the alternative question.
All right, that's great. So when would you want these delivered then? Would you like Tuesday or would you like Wednesday?
Although a very simple question, psychologically it's actually very clever because it gives the control in concluding the business to the customer. They are making the final decision. The third magic question is the assumptive question. Now this one can actually come in many shapes and forms.
So let me just get an order pad. Great. What's your full postal address then, John?
You see, you're simply assuming that the deal is agreed, and in that example, you're concluding the business by completing the relevant paperwork. The next magic question is really a series of questions. It's a means of summarizing what you've agreed in a series of questions that can really only be answered with the word yes. So we call it the yes question.
So we've agreed, Tony, that you've got to implement a new emergency warning system because of the recent legislation. Yep, okay. And that the sales and marketing team want this done as soon as possible because they want to promote it to your customers at the next industry exhibition. Excellent. You like the price? Good. And our lead times, I assume they're in line with your financial budgeting procedures? That's perfect. So would you like to go ahead and place the order now?
Certainly would. So, you get the point. You're conditioning the customer to say yes and to reach the natural decision that they want to get on with concluding the business. The penultimate magic question is called the minor question. And the best way to explain this is with an example. So let's say you are looking to sell £100,000 worth of office automation. And as an option, you can also sell a service contract worth £10,000. A minor question would look something like this.
So would you like to take the standard service contract with that?
You see, you're focusing on the minor part of the deal, the 10k service contract, which by default means you're already expecting that they are placing an order for the major part of your proposition. Now, the final magic question is what we call the puppy dog question. Now, I've left this to last because it may or may not, in some cases, be something you can offer as a sales representative for the company you currently work for. But it is a relevant way of concluding business, and in fact, a very powerful way that some companies use.
So how about we let you have the system for 30 days, and if at the end of the 30 days you're not completely happy with the performance and the results you get, we'll come and take it away at no charge.
It's what you would probably call a trial, because you're letting the customer try the goods before they buy. But I like to call it the puppy dog question, because if you imagine somebody taking home a beautiful little puppy for a month, you know that they will get so attached to it that it will be almost impossible for them to give it back. And that's the purpose of the trial. They experience the pleasure it brings, or the eliminated pain it's got rid of, and have no intention of going back to the way things were. So the business is concluded. So there you have 6 magic questions that will help you naturally conclude the business. Now, our next step, we said, is to congratulate and recognise. Quite often people thank the customer for their business, which isn't wrong. In fact, it's very polite. But a more powerful technique is to congratulate or recognise the customer for the decision that they've made.
Oh, congratulations, John. Yep, I know you'll be extremely pleased with the performance of these machines and the quality of results that you'll get. You'll be the most popular man in the company when they see the impact it has on the business.
You see, congratulating them makes the buyer feel that they've done you a favour, that you've come out, that they've come out on top, so to speak. Whereas thanking them makes them feel like they've done you a favour and that you've come out better in the transaction. It's a subtle but important difference, and it's a surefire way to remove what is called, in business, buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse occurs when the customer has placed the business with you and sometime afterwards regrets their decision. They wonder if they've made the right choice. So look for ways to recognise the decision they've made as being the right decision.
Actually, John, placing your order now was a good move on your part. Yes, because next week our prices go up, because of the change in the exchange rates. So you've actually just saved your company quite a bit of money.
You see, it's about creating a feel-good factor which builds the relationship, which builds a friendship. Now, the last step in concluding the business is to ask for referrals. It is much easier to build your list of prospects by getting referrals from people who have already bought. You have an automatic testimonial that you can refer to, you have a friendship between the parties that you can leverage, and you have some background information on the referral for your situational fluency. There are 3 key things you need to know when asking for referrals. 1, ask for more than you want. So if you would like to get 2 names, ask for 5. The second thing is to describe the characteristics of what you're looking for.
So who else do you know, John, that runs a small to medium-sized business like yourself and is experiencing similar challenges and might also benefit from us managing their IT infrastructure for them?
And finally, ask the customer to provide an introduction. Ask if they will place a call or drop an email to the prospect for you in advance. Because when it comes to building credibility and rapport, half the work is then done for you. And here's a top tip that will make a massive impact on your success in selling. Ask for referrals. Now hang on, you say, I've already said that, and you'd be right. But this time, I'm talking about asking for referrals from the referrals, even if they don't buy.
Well, thank you for your time anyway. I'll give you a call in 3 months as we agreed, all right? Before you go though, Christine, who else do you know that runs a small to medium-sized business like yourself and is experiencing similar challenges keeping up to date with technology?
Getting referrals like this can keep you in business forever because your prospect list grows exponentially, because the first customer becomes 2 referrals. Those 2 referrals become 4. Those 4 become 8, who become 16, etc., etc. You'll never have to make a cold call again. You'll have an unlimited number of contacts to call upon, and there's an expression in selling that says, the more you make, the more you make, meaning that selling is a numbers game to some extent, and the more calls you make, the more money you make. This one action alone can significantly change your income potential forever. So there you have it. 3 steps to concluding the business in a professional and friendly way that will also help you create ongoing business through an ever-increasing number of prospects. All that is left now is for Mike and I to now conclude this learning and development program. So join us in the next and the last episode of Serious Selling.